The Paralympic Heritage Stories from Bradford and Keighley exhibition were created by the National Paralympic Heritage Trust in collaboration with Bradford Metropolitan District Council to celebrate the Paralympics and those from the Yorkshire region who have been part of this remarkable movement. National Paralympic Heritage Trust exists to enlighten and inspire future generations by celebrating, cherishing, and bringing the Paralympic heritage and its stories of human endeavour to life. In doing so, it aims to challenge negative attitudes to disability.
A National Paralympic Heritage Trust welcome, sharing the story of the Paralympic movement with a montage of colour footage showing the GB Paralympic team, judo and the sprint. In black and white, ex-servicemen in wheelchairs. Find out how it all began with Dr. Harold Gutman and wheelchair football at Stoke Mandeville Hospital. Meet athletes, coaches, fans and volunteers. Swimmer Ellie Simmons, a wheelchair fencer, the Mexican wave, a delighted coach. In black and white, wheelchair archers. Discover Paralympic sports old and new. Archery, fencing, skiing, equestrian, football. Explore the science of sport. An early running blade, a modern prosthetic limb, a wheelchair adapted for cycling. Find out about sports near you. Swimming, boating, fencing, an Italian winner waving his bike in the air. Celebrate the Paralympic spirit, running, wheelchair racing, smiling Paralympic winners, one kissing her medal, and GB wheelchair winner David Weir.
Father of the Paralympic movement, Professor Sir Ludwig Gutmann arrived in Britain as a Jewish refugee from Germany in 1939, setting up the first specialist spinal injuries unit in preparation for the D-Day. He introduced sport as part of the rehabilitation of mind and body, leading to today's Paralympic Games.
My name is Nick Webborn. I'm Chair of the British Paralympic Association and Professor in Sport and Exercise Medicine at the University of Brighton. In 1981 I broke my neck playing rugby when I was a doctor in the Royal Air Force, and I spent 8 months at the National Spinal Injuries Unit at Stoke Mandeville Hospital. Since then I've attended 10 Paralympic Games, summer and winter, either as a Great Britain team doctor or with the IPC Medical Committee. I represented Great Britain in the World Team Cup in wheelchair tennis. I first heard about Sir Ludwig Popper Gutmann when I was an inpatient in Stoke Mandeville. He had passed away 2 years earlier and had long since retired from clinical practice, but he was still revered within the hospital and still much talked about by the staff. He was clearly a legend in the true meaning of the word. Last summer I was honoured to visit the town of his birth, formerly known as Tost in Germany, but now Toszek in Poland. Putting patients first was clearly his ethos, and his patients loved him for it, even if he demanded a lot from them too. I was very privileged to meet his daughter Eva during the London 2012 Paralympic Games, where she was the honorary mayor of the Paralympic Village. Probably, and most importantly, Gutmann just recognised those with spinal cord injuries as normal people worthy of the same recognition. It was felt then that the treatment of paraplegics was a waste of time. He recognised the importance of physical activity for health and used sport as a motivation. Gutmann was also fully aware of the positive psychological benefits of physical activity, to give a sense of purpose. He felt that sport helped to develop self-discipline, self-respect, competitive spirit and comradeship. As he put it, mental attitudes that are essential for the disabled person's integration into the community. On the opening day of the 1948 Olympic Games, Gutmann organised an archery competition between his patients at Stoke Mandeville and those at the Star and Garter home. Just 16 competitors, but it was a start. 4 years later, a team from a rehabilitation centre in Holland attended, and there started the International Stoke Mandeville Games. Gutmann later said, "I foresaw the time when this sports event would be truly international, and the Stoke Mandeville Games would achieve world fame as the disabled person's equivalent to the Olympic Games." In Rio 2016, over 4,000 competitors took part in the third largest sporting event in the world. Firstly, I would thank him for his massive contribution to medicine and sport, not only the improved healthcare, but for developing this wonderful movement which has helped shape and change attitudes to disability. I would also tell him about the extraordinary performance that athletes with disabilities are now achieving. I think he'd be surprised. He was quoted as saying once that he did not think it was healthy for someone in a wheelchair to do a marathon, yet now they can do it quicker than an able-bodied person.
The title, Paralympic Milestones. A series of captioned black and white photographs. In 1944, Dr. Gutmann arrives at Stoke Mandeville Hospital, where he revolutionises treatment of patients with spinal injuries, introducing physiotherapy and sport. In 1948, at the first Stoke Mandeville Games, the hospital and the Star and Garter home compete in wheelchair archery. In 1952, at the first International Stoke Mandeville Games, Dutch ex-servicemen are invited to join the competition. In 1960, International Stoke Mandeville Games are held at the Rome Olympics. In 1964, in colour, a wheelchair athlete at the Tokyo Paralympics. Archive colour footage of the opening ceremony at the 1968 Tel Aviv Paralympics. 1976, the first Winter Paralympics, held at Ornsköldsvik, Sweden. 1984 Paralympics at Stoke Mandeville and New York. Stoke Mandeville hosts first wheelchair marathon. 1992 Barcelona Paralympics draw record crowds. 2000 Sydney Paralympics, which include equestrian events. 2012 London Paralympics and the lighting of the Olympic cauldron. 2014 Sochi Winter Paralympics showing cross-country skiers in bright sunshine. 2016 Rio Paralympics with a host of sporting participants. 2018 Pyeongchang Paralympics.
James Reed Griffith and T. J. Wilson represented Great Britain at the Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, March 2019. Both teenagers came away with 2 gold medals each. T.J. from Keighley won a gold in the English working trials, a gold for English equitation, as well as bronze for dressage. James won gold for dressage and working trials, and silver for English equitation. Kevin won 2 Paralympic bronze medals in the discus and also broke the world record on 3 separate occasions during his career. He was inducted into the Stoke Mandeville Hall of Fame in April 2018.
Vicky Orton is a textile artist based in Yorkshire, working predominantly with wool and thread. Vicky's art, We Are All Superhumans, aims to highlight the fact that we are all superheroes, whether disabled or able-bodied, and the vital role that science and technology plays in all our lives. We are all superhumans. The wall hanging portrays the technological advancements that has benefited both athletes with disabilities and able-bodied sportspeople.
Paul Cartwright started wheelchair racing in 1978 and competed in the 100 metres, 200 metres and 400 metres sprint and 100 metres, 400 metres relay, and the first ever wheelchair marathon, for which he achieved the British record at the 1984 Paralympic Games. He was the first British Paralympic racer to reach the 100 metres final. David is a Leeds-based multiple medalist with cerebral palsy who has competed on a tricycle in road race and time trial events in 4 games since 2000 in Sydney. Peter Fimbo, double bronze medalist from Bradford, is a wheelchair basketball athlete who has competed in the 2004, 2008 and 2012 games. This three-wheeler sports wheelchair prototype was made for Paul Cartwright in 1986 by Jackson Cycles in Leeds.